Is it true that politicians are now purchasing permanent voter cards? What would they do with it? Is that going to jeopardize our election? The talks about vote buying and preparations by some politicians to do this, what are the issues? Let's get to talk about it. Mr. Festus Okoye is Inec National Commissioner on Voter Education, is here with us. Thank you so much, Mr. Okoye, for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Let's touch on this issue of permanent voter cards purchase before we go into, because that is getting a lot of Nigerians worried. Have you heard about it?
Yes, I have.
Have you been able to verify it as a commission?
No.
Do you think it's possible for someone to purchase and use the PVCs for election?
Well, there are two possibilities here. The first possibility is for you to dispossess someone of his or her PVC and get the person not to vote. In other words, you are engaged in voter suppression. And if you purchase somebody's PVC and the person does not vote, what that means is that one vote is out. So you are suppressing the votes in that particular constituency. So that is one aspect of it. The second aspect of it is that I think that some politicians are very, very optimistic. They normally plan for the rainy day. They are still thinking that there's a possibility that they can beat the Bvas that we are going to use for voter accreditation and authentication. But I believe that that exercise will be an exercise in futility. Anybody who is purchasing a permanent voter's card is just engaged in an exercise in futility. The only thing...
Welcome again. As you are listening, this is Festus Okoye, the Inec National Commissioner, saying about the Bvas. In terms of these Bvas, you can see no possibility against PVC on Bvas. When you have a Bvas in this election, it shows that this election is coming to a successful one. Because when you have your PVC and with your hand, according to the Bvas, even if they purchase it, only thing that you can do is that the person they purchase his own from his hand, the person cannot be eligible to vote due to the following of the Bvas. And again, no more incident form. It's obvious that there is no incident form again. So at least watching this video will make you to more understand more. And please don't forget to share about this video so that others will also learn. And you that is selling your PVC, it better you stop selling the PVC, because selling of the PVC will not achieve you anything and it will not add anything to the election. So the better you stop selling it is better for you to know that this election have come to stay, and also share it for other people to know about the incoming election, about the Bvas, because I know Inec have assured us several times that with the Bvas everything is going to be possible. So you listening and making sure you pass the information for others to know that with the help of the Bvas, the mindset of rigging election is less. Thank you very much. And also share. Welcome back to Eriwa TV.
Is to make sure that the owner does not vote on election day. But for you to come to the polling unit on election day with a permanent voter's card belonging to someone else and you attempt to vote with it, it is next to impossibility. The Bvas will not capture your fingerprints. The Bvas will not capture your facials.
And you've said that there won't be incident forms.
There is no, we have retired the incident forms, and the incident forms will not return anymore in our electoral process.
So in this case that a card reading machine and the accreditation reading device, which is the Bvas, should it fail at the point of voting or accreditation in that polling unit, the Electoral Act has provided what should be done. The election might be cancelled and done the following day. Is that what is going to happen?
Well, what we have done as an electoral management body is to provide for the use of the Bvas in the 176,846 polling units in Nigeria. We have also provided for what we call redundancies in the 8,809 registration areas or electoral wards. So for each electoral ward, we are going to have some spare Bvas that can be deployed speedily if there's any issue or any challenge in any of the polling units. And we are training our registration area technical support staff that can also intervene if there's any challenge with the Bvas. But if there's what we call sustained malfunction of the Bvas, up to the time of the closing of the poll. The Electoral Act demands that we should undermine the voting in that particular process. Support staff that can also intervene if there's any challenge with the Bvas. But if there's what we call sustained malfunction of the Bvas up to the time of the closing of the poll, the Electoral Act demands that we should undermine the voting in that particular process and repeat the voting within a period of 24 hours.
So if the Bvas fail to work, you will deploy. But if that fails us, we will deploy personnel to fix it or get a spare. If that fails to work, then you have to do it the following day.
Definitely, yes.
Now, for those who are planning or who are already purchasing and collecting the PVCs from voters, some of the fears, and I'm going to say this because I relate with politicians a lot, and I know some of the things that they say is that there are voting points that are within the areas of some political bigwigs and who are bent on winning an election. For example, I mean, there are at some point where Inec said, in fact, there are polling units that are placed in the shrine, some placed in, in very funny places, palaces and in homes and the frontage of the compounds of some political party bigwigs and all of that. These are the plans that if it's collected within that area, they can coordinate and make sure that they win that area because they have purchased it and they're going to distribute it for them. There are different plans. And, what we have seen over the last few years in our electoral process is the fact that as soon as Inec makes a policy, politicians will find a way around it just to circumvent the process. So what are they thinking of Inec in this respect? How are you able to monitor that people who are trying to subvert the process by purchasing this, they are not stupid for purchasing it. They have their reasons and they know how they want to use it.
Protecting the electoral space, protecting the electoral ecosystem is a shared responsibility. And as the chairman normally points out, it is a multi-stakeholder venture. Now, during the time we converted our voting points and voting point settlements into full-fledged polling units, we also removed polling units that are located in places that we consider inappropriate. We removed polling units from the palaces of traditional rulers. We removed polling units that are near the homes of politicians. We removed polling units that are in shrines. We also remove polling units that are in places we consider not conducive for electoral business. So we have removed all those polling units. Now, for the political parties, the law obligates them to nominate polling agents for all the polling units in Nigeria and all the registration areas in Nigeria, including the local governments. So every political party that is registered in Nigeria that has sponsored candidates in this election has the right to deploy polling agents to all the polling units in Nigeria, especially to guard what goes on in those places. But the Nigerian people must also be very, very vigilant in terms of mandate protection and guard the polling units to protect their mandate. But in terms of any politician bypassing the Bvas, I want to tell you that that will not happen, and that is next to impossibility, because at the end of polling, at the end of voting in every polling unit, the polling unit level result will be entered into from EC8A, which is the polling unit level result, and transmitted directly to our Inec result viewing portal. Not only that, the accreditation data for that particular polling unit must also be transmitted electronically to our Inec result viewing portal. And so at the end of the day, it is a combination of all these things that will be used for purposes of collation of results, especially at the registration areas. And so those who are buying up PVCs, as far as I'm concerned, they are engaged in an exercise in futility. They can only suppress the votes. But in terms of bringing the polling units bringing the PVC to the polling units and getting people to vote with those PVCs, it is not possible.
You heard how much they are buying it. 2,000 naira per PVC. And some leaders in the north they've raised these alarm, and they've asked the president, Serap was writing to the president today, to arrest those who are doing this. Can INEC make a move in this respect? I mean, security agencies, can they move in this direction and arrest culprits or those who are found doing this?
Oh, definitely. It's an electoral offense to be found in possession of PVC that does not belong to you. And in Sokoto State, those who were found with, someone who was found with a PVC that does not belong to him, we moved quickly, liaised with the police, and then the individual was charged to court and convicted. The same thing also happened in Kano State, where some individuals were found with PVCs that does not belong to them, and they were promptly arrested, charged to court, and they were also convicted and sentenced to, I think, 2 years imprisonment. So if any individual is found to be in possession of PVC that does not belong to him or her, or to be found to be buying up PVCs for one malicious activity or the other, the security agencies have a responsibility to go after such individuals, apprehend them, and then proceed against them.
Okay, let's go into the permanent voter cards. What is INEC planning to do to ease the pains? You heard some of the agitations of some people who say, look, they've been there all day, they left their jobs and they've gone to queue up. What can you do to ease the pains of Nigerians? I know that in the first 3 days of the collection, INEC got a lot. I'm very sure that you didn't expect the kind of crowd that you saw at your offices.
I will only counsel patience. I will only counsel understanding of the Nigerian people in relation to this matter. We drafted and approved a standard operating procedure for PVC collection. And we have spaced out the period for the collection of PVCs. We started on the 12th day of December 2022, and we end on the 22nd day of January 2023. And we have also made it very clear that on the 6th day of January 2023, we are going to deploy to the various registration areas or electoral wards. And we have 8,809 electoral wards in this country. And our officers will remain there up to the 15th day of January before they return to the various local government areas. So all individuals in Nigeria cannot collect their permanent voters cards the same day. Moreover, there are basically 3 challenges we have noticed. One, those who engage in multiple and double registration also approached our various local government areas wanting to collect their cards. And when their cards were not readily available, when their cards were not given to them, some of them started making trouble. The second is that there are also some persons who did transfer. Now, the process of transfer is completely different. When we are doing continuous voters registration exercise and also carrying out transfers and also trying to replace the PVCs of those whose PVCs were damaged or defaced and so on, we made it very clear that you can go to our website and carry out that business, that you can also approach any of our registration centers, any of the local government areas, anywhere in the country and do that. But when you choose a polling unit or a local government or a registration area where you intend to vote in the election, it is that state and that local government and that registration area that we are going to forward your card to, because you are transferring from Lagos, for instance, to Kaduna. And if you have chosen Kaduna and Kaduna not local government as the place where, as your local government of preference, where your registration area is situated and where your polling unit is situated, your card will be in Kaduna, not in Lagos, where you carried out the transfer. So these are some of the challenges we are encountering.
These are some of the issues that people have raised, and I probably want to borrow I want to give some advice to INEC, free of charge. You don't have to pay for this one. And one of the things, like some customer service oriented activities look like, when you give out your item to some businesses, when they are ready with it, they will text you and say, oh, Mr. Festus Okoye, your item is ready on Monday, the 19th of December for collection. Please show up at our office at 10 a.m. That's an appointment scheduling that has been done. Is it possible with INEC having conversation with telecommunication companies, and you can do this digitally on the computer by scheduling people and saying, we are going to give out to 100 people today. and you schedule these people, and in any case, people are registered and their telephone numbers are also part of their registration. Is it possible INEC can think about this innovation, because you have a short window? It's just about a month for the collection.
I completely agree with you. Now, for those who register during the continuous voters registration exercise, we try to collect their telephone numbers and their email addresses. And we've scheduled a process and a procedure to alert them on where their PVCs are and when they can collect them. But for those who registered from 2011 to the 2019 general election, who did not supply their telephone numbers and so on, what we have done is that we are harvesting their telephone numbers from their cards, and then we are bringing them to the headquarters and also trying to see those we can contact via telephone.
I think you can
yes.
also relate with civil society organizations to help you out. They can get hard work people to help you in, especially in places that are densely populated. I mean, you need to find a strategy, because people are agitated, people are frustrated, and if INEC is not going to do this on the weekend, then during the week people have to leave their businesses to go and collect their permanent voter card. You have to make it easy for Nigerians, or easier for Nigerians to be able to do. Are you promising Nigerians to do that?
Yes, some of these teething challenges will become a thing of the past in the next few days, because we are already in liaison with civil society groups and organizations, and they have offered various services. Some of them have offered to also deploy their personnel to control the queue. Some of them have also offered various types of services, and we are harnessing all these services in order to also make sure that we impute them into the collection process. These teething challenges will become a thing of the past in the next few days, because we are going to deploy more personnel, and we're also going to make sure that national commissioners take charge of this particular process, and also make sure that the electoral officers follow our standard operating procedure for PVC collection.
I'm worried a bit, Mr. Okoye, based on the data that INEC has released. In 2019, you had attacks on your facilities and infrastructure in 4 states with 8 incidents. And these are mostly arson and destruction of your materials and your infrastructure. In 2020, it rose from 4 states to 9 states. This time around, 22 incidents. Now, in 2001, it went from 8 states, down a bit to, 9 states from 2020 to 2021. It went to 7 states, but 12 incidents. In 2022, we have seen 5 states impacted with 8 incidents. Altogether, 15 states, 50 incidents in 4 years. This is a sad scenario. As INEC be able to figure out what exactly is going on, why these attacks on your facilities, are they linked to a group of people, or are these just staggered or just isolated incidents? Have you been able to get information or intelligence in this respect?
Some of the attacks, especially the ones we recorded in 2022, are systematic and are targeted at disrupting the electoral process. But some of the previous attacks, some of them are not related to any electoral activity whatsoever. And as you know, the Commission has offices in the 704 local government areas of Nigeria. And these are national assets. These are assets that belong to the Nigerian people. And because they are national assets, and in some local governments, that's the only outstanding federal government facility that you can see. So sometimes it's just misplaced aggression and against the facilities of the Independent National Electoral Commission.
So you don't think that this is, isolated? It's not by maybe one group of people?
No. For instance, during the NSAS protest, some of our offices were attacked, and we know what the issues are and what the issues were during that particular period. But you know, the good thing about some of these issues are, in some of the communities where some of our offices were attacked, the communities offered to review some of these facilities, and they did review some of these facilities. So there were some of the attacks that are related, that are election related, and some of the attacks that are not election related. But the attacks that we have experienced in 2022, as we are building up to the 2023 general election, are politically motivated, and definitely aimed at crippling the preparations of the commission from getting organized for the 2023 general election.
If you look at out of the 50 states, out of the 15 states that have experienced these attacks, you will see that nearly all the states in the southeast have been impacted. There are 5 states in the southeast region. Out of the 15 states that have experienced these attacks in the last 4 years, if you look at it, 50 incidents in all, but if you count the number of incidents in the southeast, is more than any region of the country. Could there be a reason to this effect?
Well, the commission is not in a position to begin to give reasons for some of these attacks. The responsibility for investigation rests with the various security agencies, and some of the security agencies have carried out their investigation. You had the Deputy Inspector General of Police at the public hearing in the House of Representatives saying that some of these attacks are politically motivated, that some of the attacks are coordinated and engineered by political forces for one reason or the other. But as far as the commission is concerned, we are assiduously preparing for the conduct of the 2023 general election. We are not a political party. We are not politically aligned with any of the tendencies. And we believe that those who are engaged in these attacks should leave the commission alone to prepare for the conduct of the 2023 general election. Because if these attacks continue up till next year, it's going to pose a grave danger to electoral business and electoral continuity. And the commission does not want a situation where we are going to get into a constitutional crisis because of attacks on our facilities.
Out of 50 incidents, Mr. Okoye, and I'm coming back to you, 27 out of it are from the 5 states of the Southeast.
Yes.
Is that worrisome? I mean, does that give you bother about the conduct of election? Some political parties have not